Hi everybody, I wanted to just give you a quick overview video of the class, just sort of a tour of our class. This is pretty standard if you've taken an online class. If you haven't taken an online class before, I think it's pretty simple, and I do try to organize it so that it's easy for you to access the materials. So first of all, the announcement tab is first, and I usually do a Monday announcement, and I give an overview of the assignments for the week. Occasionally I'll do a mid-week announcement, or occasionally I'll just give you sort of a reminder about something within the week, but the main announcement would come on Mondays, and then it's usually just sort of a copy of what is in the folder for that week. Second, you have the collaboration tab, and that includes the discussion board, which you have quite a few discussion boards for the online class. And we have Blackboard Collaborate. With Blackboard Collaborate, that's a place where we can meet and video chat, and it's a great way to do office hours or meeting times to go over assignments if you would like to do that. And it's kind of nice because you can do it at sort of odd times. So like if you're not on campus during the day, but maybe after work you would like to meet, we can try to set up a time sort of after office hours. So we also have Microsoft Teams that also has some video components to it and ways to message each other. I have also, going back to the announcements, given you a remind code, and this is another way to communicate with me. You can just register with the Remind app, and basically all you do is text this code to 81010. So just on your phone, you can text that code to that number, and then that links you to our class account, and you can text me and I can text you. And it's just a great way to ask quick questions, especially like after hours when I may not be just, right into the email at all hours of the day. But if I have my phone with me, I would see the question and I could probably answer it pretty quickly. The next thing is the course information, which hopefully you've already gone over. There's an introduction of me. It has my office hours, but just keep in mind that office hours are just a way for me to have set hours, but I'm also willing to meet with you outside of class or office hours if you just let me know. So while you can always stop by my office, it's just not as much of a guarantee if it's outside of those hours, because I might have meetings. I might be out of my office if I don't know someone's coming. If you need to come, just let me know and we'll set up a time, and I'll accommodate you the best way I can for that. And we can also meet on Collaborate in a video way. This gives some information just about me, who I am, and it also shows you where my office is. This phone number is great. It's in my office. I will get the message, but you will probably have a delay because, a lot of times students leave messages and I'm already in class for the day, or I've left for the day, and then I don't get the message until maybe the next day. So it's better to email if you want a quicker answer, and or use the Remind app to send me a quick little question. And then my email's there as well. Next, we have your books. This is an ebook situation, and so you just click in and then it'll probably ask you a few questions just to link you to the class that's already set up with the books. The Norton Field Guide is our textbook, and you will have readings out of it and you will have quizzes. One thing to keep in mind is if you do have a quiz with materials in your textbook, I am fine if you utilize those resources while you take the quiz. A lot of my quizzes are more about assessment of you understanding the concepts or understanding the sort of connections of the course, not as much memorization. So I'm fine if you use the textbooks while you take the quiz. I do often time my quizzes just to keep everything honest with everyone, and I don't allow backtracking, which means you probably want to read the chapters assigned first so that you know where to go in that chapter to sort of find the answer. You're more familiar with it rather than not reading it all and then trying to look up the answer. One technique you may also want to do is maybe take a few notes as you read the chapters, or there are features in the ebook where you can highlight sections. So if you see something that you think is important or something you want to go back to quickly, you can go ahead and highlight it. There's also a tab feature, and you can, sort of put a mark on it so that it'll, take you back to that tab. The Little Seagull Handbook is a handbook. It's not as much like a chapter in a textbook, but it is a great way to research the formatting for your papers, look up grammar rules, look up standards for writing and writing the papers and formatting them. So this is meant to be a resource, and then the textbook is more, of a traditional textbook with chapters to read and passages to read. Okay, next, I have a weekly assignment section, and everything will have like sort of folders. And I usually put the date and the week that it coincides with, and those are released on Monday. And I go on Monday to Monday rotations. I am not a fan of giving weekend work or weekend deadlines. So my deadlines generally are on Fridays and Mondays, unless there's a holiday. And then if there's a holiday, we just do a date, before or after the holiday. So I'm a firm believer in self-care and, maintaining some freedom within classes. So I don't want to force you to have to work on the weekends if you don't want to. And then I know some of you guys have jobs that you have hours on the weekends, so you might be super busy on the weekends. So I do the deadlines on Friday and Monday around the weekends. If you choose to work, that's fine, but you just wouldn't have a deadline on a Saturday or Sunday. Speaking of that, I do not answer emails on Saturdays. Our campus closes at 3 p.m. on Friday. I generally answer emails up until 3 p.m. Friday. If for some reason I'm in a meeting or I'm doing something else at 3 p.m., I would always come back to the email before, I kind of shut things down for the weekend. On Saturdays, I don't work. That's my day off. And so I don't check emails on Saturdays. But on Sundays, generally on Sunday night, as I'm preparing for the week, I try to respond to emails. If I don't get to all of those emails, I do check them first thing Monday morning and respond. And then generally on the weekdays, I answer emails up until about 5 or 6 o'clock. And then I shut down and go home and have dinner, just like other people do, and my day is done. So, and then I will respond to the emails the following morning. Again, you could use the remind code if you needed a quicker answer, and if I see that on my phone and there's a question I can answer quickly, I will answer that in the Remind app. So here's an example of week 2. You just click into it, and I usually have a little overview. This would be very similar to what I put in the announcements. Sometimes in the announcements it's an abridged version of this. It's a shorter version, just a little overview, but then the overview may be more extensive in the folder, where I try to show you what assignments you have, what deadlines there are, and any notes or heads up I want to give you. So there's a lot of reading in there, but hopefully that helps guide you for the week. Now, some weeks may overlap with some of the assignments, or sometimes I'll release an assignment a little early because I feel like maybe some people might want to spend a little bit, extra time on it. So one of the assignments that I do that with is the interview assignment, because in this class you have to do an interview with a professional, and I know it would be very hard to set up that appointment on a Monday and then get it complete by the end of the week. So I usually try to release that a week ahead of when it's due so that you have time to plan appropriately. So I do try to keep your schedules in mind, and hopefully I'm very fair with that, and I try to give a lot of grace with understanding of individual schedules and needs of the student in other areas of their lives. But I do have deadlines, and I do expect you to meet the deadlines. I do not grade late work. And that's just because that's fair to me, because it's not fair for me to have graded all the assignments and then all of a sudden, 5 to 10 students are turning things in late, and then I'm having to find time to grade that. The exception to that would be if you had some sort of life-changing thing occur, and sometimes I've had students have car accidents, unfortunately, or an illness or something like that. As long as a student contacts me prior to the deadline and we can work something out, I try my best to work something out with the students. That is not a guarantee, because I have to take every situation individually to see, will that fit with me being able to give an extension? But most of the time I try my best to give the extension with extenuating circumstances. I do ask that you keep in mind that I'm also having to be a partner with you and that I'm also having to grade quite a few papers, and I cannot have people work off of 20 different deadlines. That's just not possible on my end because I'm one person grading over 100 papers for every assignment I give. So just keep that in mind. We don't want to lie. We don't want to make things up. Save that request for something that really is necessary, and treat this like a job, just like you wouldn't go to a boss and really abuse any kind of grace they're going to give you for being late with something or not attending or something like that. You want to treat this like an important part of your life. I try to treat it that way as well. So I just ask you to do that. So going back to the folders, you'll have an overview. And then I usually have embedded folders with little icons, so hopefully they're easy to access. You'll always have an assignment overview, videos and presentations. It may be PowerPoints, it may be links to YouTube videos, it may be something I've produced, but things that will be resources for you to complete the assignments. I really hope that you watch the videos because I think those give you sort of hands-on, direct information to help you complete the assignment. For some weeks, you will have a links and resources tab. That's not true every week because it's not needed every week, but you'll have that. And then we always have a submission folder where you just go to submit everything or to take a quiz. Looking at the assignment materials folder, I try to give you notes from me to you. I try to categorize them so they're easy to access. In this case, it's showing you some of the topics that you need to steer clear of for your research topic for the semester. Here's an assignment. For any assignment you have, I always embed the actual assignment sheet. Unfortunately, a lot of students don't read those and then they turn things in and they don't follow the assignment. So always look for that link and you just click into it and it will show you what the assignment is. So here is the chart for the preliminary research. Hopefully it'll come up. It may not come up. Let's see. And most often it's a Word document. Sometimes in this case you'll have a chart and you can fill in the chart that I've given you because sometimes it's more of like a worksheet. Always scroll completely through to make sure you're doing everything. In this case, you have to answer some questions and then you have a brief paragraph. Keep in mind that this is a college English class, and so there are expectations for academic rigor with your writing. You want to use formal phrasing, formal responses, word choices, complete sentences, and you want to always give specific answers. So if you give really broad answers, you probably won't get full credit for the assignment because you're showing me that you know how to properly communicate and clearly and concisely communicate. So I'll always link you to the discussion board, so you can always click into the link, or you can go back to that tab. That's the collaboration discussion board tab, and you can go directly to the discussion board there. I will tell you that sometimes in Blackboard links get unlinked, and I don't always know that that has happened. It can be just a glitch in the system. So if you would ever click on the discussion board link and it doesn't take you to the discussion board, again, you can always go back and link into the discussion board, sort of manually from this side menu over on the left side of the page. So, the assignment materials folder is always just that. It just gives you all the expectations and assignments for the week. And then the videos, in this case, here's my video, and then here's a PowerPoint on expectations for college level writing. The links and resources in this case for this particular week, I've linked you to some help with topic selection, and hopefully that helps. Sometimes I'll link you to formatting information, things like that, but it's just my way of giving you some extra help along the way. And then for the submissions, you just go to the submission link and it you just click into it and you upload your document or you take the quiz. Sometimes I will double up and put the discussion board link in the submission. That's me trying to be gracious and helpful. If I don't put it there, it's going to be in the actual assignment materials folder. But sometimes I remember to go ahead and link it twice just for your convenience. One thing to remember with posting assignments in documents, save everything as a Microsoft Word PDF file. In the old days, prior to a couple of updates with Blackboard, DOCX was acceptable. But now, if you do a DOCX file, Blackboard tends to change the formatting. And since you're graded on formatting, I would suggest doing the PDF just because the formatting is kept the same with the PDF. Also, I always ask that you name your folder, your documents with your name, the name of the assignment, and the word final in all caps, and that's a way for you to keep track of what is final and what you want me to grade. Speaking of that, when you submit, I do have a policy of multiple submissions. I do that as a courtesy to you because I know we're all human. I'm human just like you are. We all make mistakes. And if you post something and then you can always review what you post for a grade in Blackboard, I would always suggest look at it to make sure it's what you think you posted, what you think you uploaded, because maybe you accidentally upload your psychology homework and I can't really grade that because you're not, I'm not teaching you psychology. So that's always a good safeguard to check to see what you submitted. But let's say you submit it and then you do realize, hey, I accidentally put in my psychology paper, I didn't put in my English paper. You can just resubmit. You can resubmit as many times as you want as long as that first submission was by the deadline. Okay, so as long as it was by the deadline, up until the time I grade it, you can do multiple submissions. I grade the last submission. I will say, again, this is a partnership. So Blackboard is supposed to show me your last submission to grade. That's what I try my best to do. That's why you want to check when I've graded and given feedback so that you can make sure that I graded the right one. If you contact me within like a day and say, hey, Miss Austin, I submitted it 5 times and you graded the 4th version, you didn't grade the 5th version. And that might be just Blackboard. That's the one it showed me because Blackboard's, technology, and sometimes technology does some weird things. I'll regrade it. If it's a week, 2 weeks, a month later, I'm not going to regrade it because, again, this is a partnership. And if you alert me to something pretty quickly, I'll respond quickly. But if it's delayed, the grade just stands because you didn't really check behind to see, that everything was okay. So you can do multiple submissions. You don't have to tell me anything like that. I do have a new policy this semester that I am asking you to let me know if you want line-by-line feedback in your papers. For so many years, I've spent 30 minutes to an hour on every single paper, and I'm not so sure students really read the feedback. So if you're a student who really enjoys reading the feedback and you feel like it helps you, there's a text box when you submit something. And I'm going to see if it'll show us here. I'm not sure if it'll show us. Yes, you can add comments. So when you add comments to a submission, just go in here and put, please give me line-by-line feedback in the submission. Otherwise, if you don't give me that note, I'm going to give you an overview with the grade, like a little paragraph or a little note with the grade, and I'm just going to mark the rubric. And I'm starting that this semester because honestly that's becoming a trend in higher education because a lot of instructors have discovered that students aren't reading the comments, and we're spending a lot of time giving comments, which we don't mind doing if it's something the student finds useful. But if you don't think you're going to read them or you don't find it useful and you really just want the grade and the rubric, I'll mark that and then I'll move on. So just remember in the comments section to it can be a quick little note, please include inline comments or something like that. Or I would appreciate some inline comments. So let me go back. The next thing I just wanted to point out is I do have a resources folder. I've got links in there to hopefully help you. One link that I have in here is to the JCC library. that's a great resource for you, and a lot of your research will come from the databases there. We also have a liaison, and his name is Nathan Stansel. He is a research librarian at the JCC Library. Here's his phone number. Here's his email. If you're doing research and you want extra help, extra guidance, he's wonderful, and he's worked with my classes for years, and he knows what I look for, and he's a great help. You can also do a chat with the library, and I've linked you there. This is a North Carolina library system chat, and you can ask a librarian questions. So I don't know if it's going to show it to us here. It may be because I'm recording, but when you go to the chat, it will allow you to ask a librarian question. So, questions. Let me show you this in sort of real time with the library. So if you go to the JCC website, let me just open it here. If you go to this black bar up here, there's a library tab, and it takes you straight to the library. If you go to this chat button, see the button right there, you can chat. And they'll respond fairly quickly. It's usually within a minute. You can put questions in here 24/7. They only have a few times when they shut down, and that might be a major holiday. But see, they said hello. And then I can just say thanks for responding. But you can use this to get help with your formatting, questions about research, anything. It could be midnight, 2 a.m., 8 in the morning, anytime the library is not functioning, or if you just want a quick question answered. So I really like that feature. You can also do database things here, and I'll have other videos that sort of review that. So let's go back here. I also have a link to the JCC Academic Skills Center. You can do virtual or in-person tutoring, and they also have a writing portal. The writing portal is where you can put assignments, and they will review them. If I were you, I would save those for the major assignments, but they will give you feedback, and it's really cool because you can just drop in your assignment, your paper, your essay, whatever you're asking them to review. And that's not tutoring, that's more of a review service where they'll give you feedback for help with revising and editing. And you just drop it in there, you just put the file in, and then they'll usually respond within 24 to 48 hours. Great service. People with master's degrees, PhDs that we've employed to help us review student papers. You can also go to the Academic Skills Center for tutoring, again in person or virtually. They have a lot of hours. Once they release their hours for the semester, I'll probably drop those in the resource tab. I also have some links for the APA 7th edition formatting, quick guides, all sorts of things to help you format in here. I also have some videos on plagiarism, just to review some things that maybe will help you understand what plagiarism is. If you plagiarize in any way, you'll get a 0 for the paper. If I realize that maybe it's an honest mistake, I generally take 20 to 25 points off. I feel like that's like a 1/4 of your grade, or a 1/5 of your grade, and I think that's fair if it's just a simple mistake that I think was an honest mistake. But any kind of plagiarism, you do take a hit on your grade, so we want to avoid that. So I've kind of put some videos in there. Also review my syllabus, because I've listed all the ways you can plagiarize, which would include self-plagiarism. You can't use papers from other classes. In this class, you have to generate original work for this class. AI, if you use AI to write it and you copy and paste the entire AI generated essay, that is plagiarism because it's not your work. Now, if you use AI to do an outline or to get ideas, that's different, because then you're going to take those ideas and write them yourself. If you use someone else's paper, if you copy and paste into your paper but you don't properly quote, use quotation marks, things like that. So that's all explained in the syllabus. Another cool thing we have at JCC is JCC Career Services. And if you're looking for a job or you're trying to generate a resume, they're really great. And a lot of local employers contact them to advertise jobs and things like that. So I've had a lot of students who have had success with the Career Center to get employment. So, that's pretty much the overview for the class. You probably see some other things in here, but this is sort of the back door, behind the scenes things that I can access for the class as I, make the folders and open things up for you. But that's the overview of the class. So I hope this helps. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask. One thing I always say is I offer a lot of grace to my students. I really do want to help you. I want you to be successful in this class. And if there's anything I can do to help you be successful, I want you to let me know. I also want you to realize that I'm also human. If I make a mistake, let me know. I will try my best to correct it as soon as I can. I am one person running 7 classes, 6 to 7 classes every semester, and your instructors are real people too. So, just understand that this is a partnership and we're here to help you, and we want you to be successful. And if you want to make an A, I want to help you make an A. And if you have any issues with the class, I want to help, and partner with you to help you succeed. So never hesitate to reach out to me. I do have a heart for your success, as do most of the instructors here at JCC. So I look forward to working with you this semester, and let me know if there's anything I can help with the course. Thanks a lot. Thanks for watching.